Growing up in Washington, D.C., you read Thomas Boswell on baseball in the Post. You read him on everything, but you definitely read him on baseball. He's the dean of writers on the topic in that town. It was not under his byline on Monday, but it was still jarring to see the headline in the Washington Post that the Nationals should trade Bryce Harper. Neil Greenberg wrote the column, and it was through the prism of analytics, but still, it's not like the Nationals are out of the race. Disappointing year? Yeah, but still, should they move the face of the franchise? All right, a bigger question is, would they? And that got a jolt of adrenaline on Monday night when Mark Feinsand of MLB.com tweeted that the Nationals are making it known to other teams that Bryce Harper is indeed available. And with that, we welcome in Tim Kurkjian. Take two. We knew when we talked about this earlier in the day that there was every possibility that things could percolate, and this clearly has. And I just ask your reaction to this team that, as I just mentioned, has been disappointing, but this is the face of the franchise, and they're making it known that he is available. Your reaction to that is what?
Well, I'm not shocked. They're one game under 500, and they're in a fight for their lives to make the playoffs, and Harper is a free agent at the end of the season, and they might not be able to re-sign him. They're risking losing him for just a draft choice, so they have to look into this. However, I spoke to someone tonight who said he would characterize this as the Nationals would have to be overwhelmed in order to make a deal for Bryce Harper. In other words, they would have to get exactly what they want. That is a frontline starting pitcher and more in return for Harper. And seriously, how many teams are in the position to give up as much as the Nationals are going to want for what's going to be likely just a 2-month rental? So I was told this is still unlikely to highly unlikely that this would happen. But Mike Rizzo, the ultra-aggressive GM, has to do his due diligence here and just see if somebody out there is going to give him something for Harper that's going to make his team better right now and still give them a chance to make the playoffs in 2018. I find that unlikely that that could happen, especially in such a short time. The deadline's at 4 o'clock on Tuesday.
Hey, how can you put it all together in that time? But I just wonder what this means for the remainder of the time that Harper has with Washington, because if he isn't moved, he knows that he's being offered up, and maybe it's a long shot that he's going to stick around. But you hear about the price tag, and that's a different conversation. But just what does this mean for Harper if he doesn't get moved? Now you come to the table and you go, this is interesting. You were going to move me.
Well, I think he's way wiser beyond his years, meaning he's been in the forefront since he was like 14 years old.
Sure.
He knows how signings go. He knows how the draft works. He knows how trades work. And he understands that maybe they'll have to move me. I don't think he'll say, oh my goodness, they were trying to get rid of me. They're not trying to get rid of him. They're trying to work out a deal for him, but only if it's the perfect deal. My guess is this is just a bit of a smokescreen to see if someone will come in and give them everything that they want, which I repeat is highly unlikely.